Steve Jewin, MMA Mania.
All right, Steve, you're on. Go ahead.
El Matador Emmanuel Sanchez, as always, the pleasure is mine. Thank you for the time today.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it very much.
No problem. I hate to start out on a bad note, but I'm sure you've been asked about it already, so that fight with Patricio for the title, is there anything you would have done different in hindsight?
Knocked him out, man. Knocked him out, and no, man, it's all right. I know everyone's gonna ask me about that, and family, friends, everybody. I give them the same answer. Not hold back, I guess. And I think more confidence in myself. When I dropped him in the first round, I thought it'd be a lot harder. I was like, oh my God, I got him in the first round. Like, I'm gonna finish this dude right now. And letting him off the hook, I guess, and not really imposing my will and continuing with my onslaught. Let him back in the fight, let him recover, and through my mind, it was almost like, damn, I thought this would be a lot harder. I didn't think he'd go down that easy. And also, for being like the baddest dude in the world in the division, I thought he'd hit a lot harder too. And knowing that I could take his blows and, just impose my will and dish out my blows, just never hesitate, just continue to keep going. I think a lot of times, people might not realize this, but I try to be too perfect. I try to be too pretty. My coaches around me all the time is that, I don't know, I just don't like to just throw or just throw and be reckless and leave myself exposed. And, no one wants to, take unnecessary punishment, but it's a fight. That's the number one thing we have to remember. So when I know I got someone hurt like that, there's blood in the water, the shark's got to go after it, and I was too nice, I let him off the hook. So if there was one thing I could have changed in that first round, was finished him in the first round, and we'd have a different story right now. It'd be the featherweight world champion coming off a first round knockout, or TKO. But the longer the fight went to, letting him back in, even if I had gone the distance and won it that way, getting more takedowns and putting a little more together. I think a lot of it too was letting him off the hook, almost respecting him a little too much. You give him too much respect. It was like, you want to be the champ, you really got to go out there and beat the champ. You know what I mean? And he was there to finish me, but he didn't really try, in my opinion. I think it's because I was imposing my will on him and putting it on him that bad. So for being the champ, I thought he'd be a lot harder to hit, and I thought he'd hit harder. But now I have that confidence and that momentum to know that I have to trust in my abilities and have more confidence in myself to never hold back and to remind myself it's a fight. Who cares what happens? Who cares what he does? I don't care what anybody does, trains in preparation or watches my films or whatever they think they want to do. They know what I'm going to do. I'll tell them what I'm going to do. And there's not a damn thing they can do about it because they're not going to stop it. I'm still going to do it to them. So that's the biggest thing right there is still just go get them.
As evidence of the fact that you did impose your will on a lot of that fight, 2 of the 3 judges scored it 48-47. So is there any satisfaction you take from at least knowing it was that close?
Very. There is, yes, because, he got sent to the hospital afterwards. So, that just doesn't happen just because you had a bad weight cut or just because you're feeling sick. That I think that came from a few of my kicks and a few of my knees and a few of my strikes, you know what I mean? So, that came after a tough 5-round fight. And he came into me in the locker room afterwards and said that I was his toughest fight yet, So there is a lot of satisfaction. There's, the pros that you can take from that. And it really sucked. I didn't cry. A lot of other times I get more emotional when I don't have a fight coming up or when I have nothing that has to do with fighting. I get more emotional about it. But when it comes to fighting, it's like no emotion. I just go with the flow with the go. You know what I mean? Just like oceans, riding the waves. And just enjoying every second of it. So being in there, having him come and, his whole team, saying like, damn, what a hell of a fight. And that was the toughest fight I ever had. That says a lot about him. And I think that says a lot about myself too. So it was a hell of a fight. Now I have to, use that as a motivation to know that if we ever cross paths again, he's really going to get it, So, and that goes for every other fighter that I'm going to face too, going in, with Georgie again or anyone else from here on out, is that trust in my abilities have confidence in myself, don't respect my opponents too much. You know what I mean? Of course, respect them. Of course, always. You know, and I have that intelligent fear, but never so much that it holds you back and stops you from really, really unleashing from what you have the capabilities and the potential to do, you know? And that's the type of fighter I am, you know, with no fear to throw flying knees and spin attacks and everything else, you know, seeing that you didn't see much of that. This last one is just go for it, you know what I mean? Because I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And this is entertainment, you know? I'm out to please the Bellator staff because this is the reason why they want me in the main event. This is the reason they want me on live TV. You know, if you don't go out and perform and entertain, you know, then damn, you know what I mean? No one wants to watch this guy fight. So I've always, and my coach as well too, implements in all the other fighters is to go out there and leave it out there. You know what I mean? No risk, no reward, no sacrifice, no victory. So, you know, leave it all on the line and go get what you really want.
Now, I have to agree with both you and Pitbull that fight was a hell of a fight, but I can also say the same thing about your last war with Georgie, because that one was razor close too, went to a majority decision and you pulled away with it. But before I get more into that, tell me how this fight came together, because originally you were facing Ashley Grimshaw.
Yeah, literally like just the other week, I'm leaving practice and my coach, Duke Roof, is like, hey, Grimshaw's out. We're working on someone else, don't worry, maybe Georgie. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, just the fact that he was out. But then when he said Georgie, I'm like, oh good. I'm like, all right, hell yeah, like whoever can step up, if it's him, great, awesome. If not, you know, I know they'll find somebody. You know, it just sucks when you hear that someone pulls out, because then you start to think the worst of like, if they're gonna find you an opponent, if you you know, gonna get moved, they switch you cards and everything, especially when you're cutting weight and you're damn getting ready to fight, you know, you're just like, damn it, you're hungry to fight and you don't want to wait to fight. So I'm glad that Georgie stepped up, and yeah, you know, it's great. I couldn't ask for a better fight, you know what I mean? Because there's history, and I got some business to take care of, you know what I mean? So, you know, ain't nobody want to win a close decision. You know, I want to go out there and silence the critics, silence him, and put him away, get the job done and put him away.
Well, you know what? He feels the exact same way. I talked to him earlier this week on Monday, and he said he believes that it's not going to be a decision. It's not going to the judges this time. So you both seem equally motivated to go out there and deliver a hell of a fight.
You better believe it then. Yeah, I'm excited. That's what gets me up, you know? Make me work hard, kill me in training, make me suffer, and all right, let's do it, man. Battle of wills. Who's going to break first? And I've never been broken, so let's see what he's got.
But speaking of what he's got, did you catch any of those fights that he had over in Russia for the last year?
I did not. You know, I did see fights, you know, because of course, they're great scraps and matchups that I knew, but him versus Pineda, you know, so we have similar opponents, and then him versus Henry. And I didn't get to see any of his recent fights in ACB just yet. But, you know, I know the type of fighter he is and the grit that he brings, and he's a killer, you know. And I've been in there with nothing but killers. So that's my thing, you know. I don't run away from the fire. I run to the fire. I run in the fire, you know. And through the fire and flames, you know what I mean? Like, I want to emerge victorious, you know. And that's what makes you strong. That's what makes you a killer as well, too. So I'm excited. I cannot wait to lock horns with him again.
I think he's coming with a little extra motivation because of what happened in the last fight over there, because it was originally a win for him, and then it got overturned to a no contest, so his record is different depending on where you look at it, and I think he's pissed about that.
Sure. Yeah, I bet he is, you know. But I guess that's on him, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pissed about my title fight, but that's on me. So, you know, that's nobody's fault but his. So, again, like my last one, that's nobody's fault but mine. So, you know, that's on him. It's not the judge's job, the commission's job. It's your job as a fighter to go out there and submit them, knock them out, whoop their ass for 3 rounds, 5 rounds, whatever, and get your damn hand raised, you know what I mean? So, that's on him. So, who cares about that? And that, you know, just looking to go out there and take care of business.
What do you know from having been in there and grappled with him and fought with him and struck with him? What do you know about him as a fighter now that gives you an edge in this rematch?
Yeah, you know, it feels like there's a really strong closeness because prior to me fighting him, I had a former teammate already fight him. So my coaches already not only say a game plan, but a layout, a format. You know what I mean? We know how to face him. For example, Charles Oliveira. You know, my teammates Anthony Pettis and Paul Felder both faced him, so we knew exactly what to expect. So, you know, if anyone else faces him again, we know what to do. So kind of the same thing here, you know. Since we had already faced him before, we knew how strong and dangerous he was everywhere. You know, knew the right kind of, I guess, I don't even gonna say style or game plan, you know, but the right assault to go and put on him, you know what I mean, the right onslaught. And I feel like I did that even better than that my former teammate did, you know, even though it came out a decision. But I know that I have what it takes to stop him, you know, and I know that he does not have what it takes to stop me. I know he can. I'm a realist. You know, a lot of people aren't realists. I think a lot of fighters aren't realists. I know that I can be knocked out. I know that I can be submitted. I know that I can be hurt badly. But I believe my fight IQ is a lot better. So that's what gives me the confidence, you know, knowing that I've been there with some of the best, hardest punchers, biggest killers, you know what I mean? You name it, since my third fight in Bellator, you know, and fighting the former champion, Pat Curran, on short notice. You know, once I knew, off from that, a guy with, you know, more fights in Bellator than I had pro fights, and it was just like, you know, I have no fear, I have no hesitation, I have nothing to lose, and that's been the story ever since, you know what I mean? Always coming in as the underdog and coming in as someone who's looked past, I guess, you know what I mean? Always like, oh yeah, we got this, like he's easy, he's nothing to worry about. That's great. Please continue to do that. I applaud you. I'm like, please doing that. Keep doing that. Like, I love it. You know, I'm not going to ask people to stop doubting me, or, you know, I'm not going to do the Chris Weidman stop doubting me or anything. You know, I'm going to tell people, please keep doubting me. Please, please. I appreciate it. I really do. It flatters me because it only motivates me to work harder and just open eyes. So when I go out there and I do impose my will again, I really go out there and I'll say how I like to say it and feel it how I like to feel it. When I really go out there and whoop this guy's ass, that's when you're going to go and you're going to see, oh, damn, like, this guy's for real. And then I'm going to say, you're welcome. Okay, thank you for doubting me. I appreciate it. I'll enter the underdog and leave as the underdog. That's fine with me.
You know, I think very few people are doubting you at this point, especially considering you just came off that great title fight. And, you know, I put it to Georgie when I talked to him that the first time the two of you fought, that was the beginning of your streak that led you to the world title. So I'll put it to you here, is this fight going to get you back to the world title?
You better believe it, because now they already, you know, now we can actually talk about it. Before, no one could say a word, but now they're mentioning Grand Prix, as they've done for the heavyweights and the welterweights that they're doing right now. So, yeah, you know, this is really good, you know what I mean? Because now, unless he, you know, can make his way through the Grand Prix too, again, there'll be a trilogy or whatever, but there'll be no need for it because I'm going to go out there and I'm going to stop him this time, you know, because I know I really hurt him before, and I know I really put it on him before, and now that I was in a much different place, you know, that was, you know, 3-4 fights ago. Now, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all the above that you can think of, I'm in a much different, better place. And I don't think a lot of people mention this, but as a human being, and as a fighter, I've matured. So I have learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about the fight game since that outing, and it's going to be a bad night for him for sure.
It's been incredible to see you go on this run from the beginning of your Bellator career up till now and see that development, how you've matured as a fighter, as a man. I'm looking forward to seeing that journey continue, and I'm so blessed to be able to talk to you about it. So thank you for the time, and of course, like I always do, I want to give you a chance to plug teammates and sponsors and anything you like.
Well, I want to say thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. Great questions, of course. Everyone, you know, asked the same, but it's good, though. You know what I mean? You give me the ones that I want to hear, and that give me the platform that I get to tell everyone and tell the world, you know, exactly how I feel about any fight and any fighter. But I want to thank my beautiful significant other, Stacy Blett, and unparalleled greatness. I got all my weight management, you know, and nutrition. So it's not even just about making weight. It's more so my nourishment to be able to go out there and perform at the highest level, at the best level, you know. I don't consider myself an athlete at all. I'm a fighter, but it just makes me more athletic by taking care of yourself to be able to do what you love to do as, you know, physically capable to do what you want to do in the healthiest way possible. You know, so I couldn't do it without her. I got CryoFit Milwaukee, cryotherapy, the best place in here in Milwaukee, the Wisconsin Athletic Club, Rufus Sport, of course, my academy where I'm also a teacher. You know, they've always had my back since the beginning, and I've always, Rufus Sport is my home. You know, I'm there more than I actually am in my actual house or anywhere else. You know, Grip Mouth Guard, Diamond MMA Cups, Freshman Pumpkin, and Combat Corner for my training gear. You know, I got everything, all I need under one roof. You know, it takes a village to raise a fighter, as they say. And what Duke says, you know, Duke trained in Thailand. It's like we got our own form of Thailand here, you know. So we have all our training gear, training partners, training needs, necessities, companies and people, you know, local that help us fighters out, you know, to make sure that we're taken care of, you know what I mean, so that we can go out there and perform at the highest level. And we support them by putting them on our shorts or the shout outs and our banners and on the social media, you know. So it's really great that I get to do what I love to do for a living. We're having this conversation right now, and next Friday night, can't wait for it to go down.
Next Friday night, it's going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be Sanchez, Karakhanyan 2. It's going to be another classic battle. And I think you coined a phrase here in this interview. It's all under one roof with Duke Rufus. So everybody should check out Rufus Sport if they're in the Milwaukee area. Emmanuel, thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great day.
You too. And thank you, Dan, as well.